Hey guys, super excited to bring you day 8, Jolene's halter training journey. So this is her last day before we kick her out to pasture. I'm just starting with move off the hand, and she was a little bit late. She started to move and then kind of decided against it. So I just tapped her and built a little pressure, and then it made her way more sensitive this time. So I hope you guys gathered that from all the lessons I was teaching was not only how to do each lesson, but how to know when to speed them up in that lesson to get them sensitive to follow feel, and the end game, when to quit a lesson. Because that was my hopes for this journey video, is to show you the what and why, because your lesson library shows you the technique of how. And we do talk a little bit about the why and what it does, but this video speaks for itself. When you add up the hours, it was under 3 hours spread out over a month, and 8 works to bring her as far as she has, from never being touched before, never haltered, and to where she's at now. And it comes from teaching the right thing for the right length of time, right? Teaching the key components that a horse needs to learn, instead of doing a bunch of maneuvers trying to teach them what we think they need to know from a human perspective, right? And that goes all the way from the very first lesson I had with her, all the way to, teaching her how to handle fear. Everything I do is my youngest son, Cade, when he was just a little boy, he was training with me. Shoot, he must have been like 10 years old. He said, "Dad, I think I got your program figured out." And I says, "Oh yeah, bud, what's that?" He goes, "Whatever you think you should do with your horse, just do the opposite." I got quite a chuckle out of it, because there's a lot of truth to that. Like, it's just like me tapping her when she moved off my hand, but I build the taps and made her speed up. Right? I mean, why would you ever do that? It's from the understanding of the gauge that I put on her, right? How sensitive I was asking her move, and moving my hand 1 inch is engaging. She should be moving, right? And when you watch that video back, you'll see after speeding her up, the next time she moves from just me moving my hand 1 inch. So it all boils down to managing my pressure enough and working in clear patterns to be able to read the play and collect the data I need to know what I'm going to teach. And when it comes to teaching him how to handle fear, again, that's completely opposite of anything that a human would do. That's why nobody's doing what we're doing. I had to be taught that myself from a very respected horseman I respect a lot. I was doing a bunch of desensitizing stuff and had a bunch of cowboy curtains hung up and just all kinds of things to put my horse through. And I was spending all this time going through them on all my horses. And he was at my place doing a clinic for about 10 days or so. And he said, one day he said, "Why are you going, what are you doing all that for?" And I said, "Well, just trying to, desensitize my horse, get him ready for the real world." He said, "You or that horse won't live long enough to do that." He said, "Why don't you teach them a technique that you're going to use for the rest of their life, that teaches them how to rely on you and to lean on you when they're afraid, and use that same technique every time they're afraid." And it definitely, like, I've dialed it into that concept, but it wasn't exactly, I'm not doing exactly what he said, but that concept led me down the road to realize what I got going on today. And it's pretty cool. And I don't have to do any desensitizing with her now anymore on these days, but on this lesson. But I see it's a lot of people, when they desensitize, they get it all wrong, right? They're trying to get their horse over the fear of a bag, but that's not the answer at all. What I'm trying to do is use that bag to teach my horse how to handle fear. And at the same time, when they're afraid of that bag, I invite that and love that, because the bag scares them enough to move them, and it gives me time to teach them the second most important thing that I want to teach them when they're afraid, is let me control you through your face. right? From whatever aid I got on him. If I'm riding him in a halter, if I'm riding him in a bridle, let me control your face when you're in your most fearful state of mind, right? So if I've talked them through being afraid of that bag too long that now they're not afraid of it, I got to go and find another prop that they're genuinely afraid of. And I've never seen a horse yet that wasn't afraid of a plastic bag, but went out on the trail and wasn't afraid of anything on the trail either, right? They're always going to find something that gets them and that they're afraid of. And we want to be able to deal with that when it happens, have a maintenance program so that grandma can deal with that and my grandkids can deal with that when it happens. So yeah, I'm just getting her to follow a feel here. You've seen all the lessons that I'm doing is just kind of sending her around and then getting her to come forward to that pull and then get her hips. That's what I'm going to be doing when I'm riding her, is follow a feel forward and give me the hips. And I don't got to do much of that. Just little things right here just to kind of add to her lesson. And doing that one time, guys, what I just taught her right there, and we kick her out for 6 months or a year and bring her back in, she's going to know that lesson. I'll guarantee you. And a lot of times people won't believe me, and only your horse will teach you that. But if you made her do that, there's a difference in making my horse do that and teaching them to do that. And it's like this exercise right here. I've never taught her to do this exercise before. I'm teaching her how to stay behind me off to my right side. So when I turn, she needs to turn and get behind me. But because I have her sensitive to move off my hand, I don't have to move my body. I can just move my arm only and let her find that sweet spot of where I want her. And it works really, really fast. There we go. See her find that sweet spot? And I'll just let her chew that over again. Things like that. Like I said, that used to be a difficult thing to teach a horse. And now it's just, it took me 20 seconds, faster than I can explain it. That's for sure. And then I'm teaching her to stop from my shoulder right here, to not pass me. And I'm sorry, I shouldn't say, I didn't really have to teach her this. She already knew that, but I worked on this about 3 or 4 seconds over at the obstacle course on the log when she kind of jumped over the log and used that impulsion to go past me. So now she found that way quicker that time. I could add a little pressure. You may have noticed that I was a little quicker about putting her where I wanted her, right? She learns how I roll. So when I put her someplace and she finds it, I expect her to find it quicker the next time. And if she don't, I'm going to hurry her up a little bit. And as soon as I hurry her up, she nails it. And that showed me how smart a horse is, right? So I don't talk to them anymore like they're in kindergarten, right? I talk to them like they're a college professor because they get it, right? They understand the way we roll, and I'm still working within their natural instincts, but by doing that, I found the horse I never knew, right? I found their brain, because that's what I'm training on, is their brain, not their feet, right? I move their feet to get to the brain. Yeah, this is very cool. I'm just teaching her to go the other way. So they just learn to stay out my side. So if I'm leading multiple horses, I just teach them, if I got you in my right hand, stay off to the right of me. If I got you in my left hand, stay off the left. So I can lead 2 horses. Then if I lead 3 or 4 horses, I would put 2 out my right and 2 out my left. And I just have to teach all of them how to be in the sweet spot, what position they need to be in, follow a feel. So the immediate horse out my right shoulder and my left shoulder don't pass my shoulder. The immediate horse out to the right and left of them don't pass their cheekbone with their nose, right? Their eye don't go past their cheekbone. And then I can go out as wide as I want, and they just keep staying behind the cheekbone, right? And lead as many horses as you want in control, because I learned how to take the time to teach the specifics needed for that, right? And it's just, and I don't do it with a horse unless I'm I'm going to be leading 3 or 4 of them at a time, right? But just so you know, you can teach that. But we're just coming to the end of the lesson here, guys. So yeah, I'm just getting her to follow a feel of a figure 8, helps her to go forward. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this journey tape. And like this one wasn't a lot of teaching. It was just more about showing you where she ended up and talking horse psychology. So take care, guys. We'll see you down the road.